This latest MLB trade deadline rumor is juicy, with a former Cy Young Award winner, Sandy Alcantara, already packing all of his things in anticipation of a trade this coming MLB trade deadline. What is up, Mets and baseball fans? Welcome back to the True Mets Talk podcast. Make sure to smash those thumbs up buttons. Subscribe to the channel for more trade deadline conversations and more Mets content all 2025 long, and comment your thoughts and opinions about the Mets potentially making a move and taking a chance on a former Cy Young Award winner in Sandy Alcantara. This is not far-fetched, and we have seen trade discussions surrounding the Mets and Sandy for quite some time, and clearly he is not the same pitcher that he once was, but he's slowly starting to piece things together. He had a respectable month of June with just north of a 4 ERA, and he is coming off of an outing where he pitched 7 scoreless innings against the San Diego Padres. Could he be a key acquisition for contending teams? Now, we haven't heard too much smoke on the Mets front inquiring about Alcantara as opposed to another Marlins pitcher and Edward Cabrera, which we've talked about on the channel recently. Had a little bit of elbow discomfort, but came back in a major way, and he is a very young, talented pitcher himself. But let's talk about Sandy and what a potential trade package could look like, because we have one from both myself and Sports Illustrated that looks kind of the same, but a little bit different. And I'll explain that here in just a second. But before we do, let's talk about the overview of Sandy Alcantara and what he's posted in the past 3 seasons that he's appeared in. Now, the drop off in numbers started for Sandy even before he went down with that UCL injury in late September of the 2023 season that made him miss the entirety of the 2024 campaign for the Marlins before coming back in this 2025 season. But you can see the Cy Young Award numbers in 2022, and he was absolutely fantastic in that season. The numbers in 2022 weren't really all that sustainable, I feel like, but the sharp decline going from 2022 to 2023 was a little bit drastic and eye-opening, I think, for a lot of people around the league, especially in the Marlins organization, going from Cy Young Award winner with a 2.28 ERA over 228 and two-thirds innings pitched to over a 4 ERA across 184 and two-thirds innings pitched in 2023. So it's not like the lack of production here so far in 2025 is something new that we've seen with Sandy, and that's definitely something to keep an eye out on. But as I mentioned just a little bit ago in this video, there are some glimpses so far in 2025 of him kind of coming back to form. Now, does anyone expect him to get back to the 2022 version of himself? No. I think that when teams are interested in this type of trade, it's for the upside and getting a fraction of that Cy Young version of himself, potentially slotting in as a number 4, maybe at best as a number 3, given the current personnel in any rotation, let alone the New York Mets rotation with Kodai Senga, Peterson, Manaea, etc. But you see pretty much all the values decreasing here year over year, from the strikeout rate, especially the walk rate, which is actually going up. And that is not a good sign. That's not what you want to see from any pitcher. The hard hit rate, the same thing. And the overall values between the ERA, the innings, and the walks and hits per innings pitch also just increasing. But what I will say is that the one difference that I've noticed, especially in that 2022 season when he had a lot of success, was that he was a changeup predominant type of pitcher. That was the one pitch that he utilized on a very consistent basis. And in both 2023 and so far in 2025, he is prioritizing his sinker a lot more, and he's just not having that same success. Now, he can throw 97, 98 miles per hour. It's not like the velocity has dipped a whole lot, even with the injury and coming back from Tommy John surgery. But I'm very curious what made him and the pitching coach or the pitching staff of the Marlins have him make that change to his arsenal in prioritizing that sinker instead of the changeup that was absolutely lethal a couple of seasons ago. But you can see the controllability aspect and why teams are still calling up the Marlins and are really interested in this type of deal to acquire Alcantara, is because that he is going to be under control in the 2026 season, or for the 2026 season, I should say, and he is due $17.3 million. And then he has a club option in 2027 in which any team can decide if they want to pick up that club option or not. And if they don't, he would be an unrestricted free agent at that time. And that club option is worth $20+ million on the contract. So pretty steep, but a steal if he can get back to anything close to what he was in 2022, like we've just been saying. So this is kind of a hard trade package to figure out. Obviously, the Marlins are going to be selling low on Sandy, and it's hard when you have a former Cy Young Award winner that has struggled over the past couple of seasons of his career in anticipation of maybe him getting back to form and maybe not. And that's the chance that teams are running the risk of when you make these trade proposals. So this is what I put up here, and this is what Sports Illustrated here had to the left. Sports Illustrated had Sandy Alcantara going to the New York Mets in a hypothetical deal for Jett Williams, Mets' #1 overall ranked prospect, and Nolan McLean, who's also a top 3 prospect in this organization. And that's steep. That's really steep. And, I'm a fan that is prioritizing the Mets going all in this season. And I am going to say yes to the majority of trades that I see, especially prioritizing proven MLB talent. But this is not one that I would accept, especially with this being a 2-for-1 deal and a guy that has really not proven himself since 2022. I mean, the numbers and all the trajectory surrounding Alcantara is going down. So why would the Mets have to pay that much, especially when other teams and mock trade packages aren't even coming close to that asking price? And there are other teams around the league that are reportedly interested. The Red Sox have a very strong interest. They're also linked to Dylan Cease. The Padres and the Blue Jays and the Cubs, also to name a few other teams, have called up the Marlins officially about an Alcantara deal. But if you are going to give up Jett Williams and one of McLean or Brandon Sproat, as you can see in my trade package, you have to give something else of value as insurance in this trade alongside Sandy. And that is reliever who is having a career year thus far with a sub-2 ERA in Anthony Bender. He's a righty. And he also had a season a couple seasons ago where he missed, but this is a fantastic season for Anthony Bender in a bullpen for the Mets that needs a ton of help. I think that if the Marlins are willing to package that option right here with Bender and Alcantara in a 2-for-2 deal, I would 100% at that point be comfortable giving up Jett Williams and also maybe pivoting to more of a Brandon Sproat rather than a Nolan McLean in this hypothetical trade package. So Mets fans, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the Sports Illustrated package first and foremost, because I think that is just asking a ton. But also let me know what you think about my trade package. Would that incentivize the Mets to, pull the trigger on this deal, so to speak, if the Marlins also gave up Anthony Bender? Please smash those thumbs up buttons on this video if you enjoy these discussions. It's going to be a very interesting and wild ride, this MLB trade deadline. Comment your thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to the channel. Until next video. Peace.